Welcome back to the Talk of Louisville. I'm Mike Mulroney.
I'm Kellye Duckworth.
Kellye, we got a very special guest today.
You do.
Honored to
I'm
have.
actually impressed that
Can
you
you
got
believe
the
that?
mayor here. No, I can't.
Well, I've met him a few times, and he's been very supportive through him and Nicole George, and she's here. She just didn't want to be on the phone on the microphone today. But thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure. Great
It's an honor. When I talked to Nicole about you coming in, I told her we wouldn't throw any hard questions at you, but we have to ask one hard question.
Anything you want.
One hard question.
Hard questions are the story of my life.
U of K or U of L?
Oh, it's go Cards. It's Omaha.
Especially after yesterday. I know. Yeah, you got to say go Cards.
After yesterday, I get it.
I will tell you. So I grew up a huge Cards fan. I grew up going to basketball games at Freedom Hall with my parents. So I've always been a Cards fan. I'm a big fan of the University Athletic Department. I did go to my first ever UK game this year at Rupp Arena, and I wore blue.
Did they play U of L at the time?
No. They were playing. They played Texas A&M. I think it was a very good game. But it was a very interesting experience. It was a wonderful experience at Rupp Arena. They've got an amazing fan base. Going to the Yum Center versus Rupp Arena are totally different experiences. But yes, I'm definitely a Cards fan.
Well, I'm a couple good friends of mine were supposed to be going there to play football, and it still may happen. So I will be a Cards fan. But I grew up UK. But there's nothing like an experience. The one thing, and it's hard for me to say as a UK fan, I'd love to go to a Duke game and see. I've heard that place is crazy.
It is. It is a wild experience.
And it's small, too, isn't it?
Small. I don't know, it's 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people, something like that, but much smaller compared to Rupp or the Yum Center. And it was great. You feel like you're right on the court. Everyone's standing up the whole time. I did see U of L play Duke at Cameron Indoor. It was great.
I've being a UK fan, it's tough for me to say.
I know.
But being a Cats fan, I got to go there yesterday. PRP played in one of their state region.
Right.
It's not the final game, but they won. They won yesterday, won last year. So
PRP and Trinity are both in it. We got to.
Can you believe that?
I think actually we saw each other.
We did
at the championship celebration for PRP last year, and so hopefully we have another Louisville state champion.
Wouldn't it be cool to see PRP and Trinity, because they played St. X last year, but Trinity and PRP would be in the final because they're on opposite ends of the bracket. So, I hope the host city goes out. It'd kill a lot of Louisville people to go to Lexington, but it's okay. It's okay to go to Lexington.
I saw that Dudek's having a great season as well once again, and he's only a sophomore. So
can you believe that? I'm sure they're lining up to sign him with colleges or something, because a lot of kids in Major League Baseball, sometimes they go straight to the pros.
Well, now with NIL, that might change. So we'll see.
That's changed the whole game. The couple friends of mine that were potentially going to U of L, they got caught up in this NIL stuff, and the older kids they're in the transfer portal, so they just got to sit back and wait their turn. It's kind of weird how it's transformed into that. So, from Louisville, I think I saw you went to Ballard. Is that correct?
I did. I went to Dunn, Camer, and Ballard.
Okay.
So I'm a JCPS guy, big supporter of public education, and
well, you're looking at two PRP grads here, so we were excited to see them win the baseball.
A little bit of separate years, but
yeah, she's like half my age.
Well, I just appointed the former PRP principal to the Riverport board down here in Southwest.
Jason?
No, am I getting my schools mixed up? Sherry Duff.
Yeah,
she used to be. She just retired.
Right, the former principal.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, so Jason's taken over. Met him yet?
Yeah, I've met Jason.
Yeah, he's very good. So I think PRP is going to continue on with their traditions.
Well, PRP also lost Mr. Miller yesterday too, right?
Yeah, horrible. Did you know Mr. Miller?
I did. Representative Miller was a wonderful man. He did great things for our city, for this part of the city, for the entire state, state reps, and work with his wife at Riverview Park, and he'll be missed.
Yeah, for sure. He was the principal when I was at PRP.
Okay.
And it was funny. He'd get on there. He had such a country twang. Everybody would be curious. Everybody was waiting to see what he would say in the mornings, because I guess schools still do this. Is it in your day? Is that what
they would make an announcement.
Yeah, they come on and start talking about the Yeah, it's not even close. We didn't.
Did they have intercom systems back then?
They passed cans out to all the classrooms, and they strung a thread through the hallway.
That's right.
We didn't grow up with the internet. I didn't. I don't know how old you are, but there was no internet, so it's kind of a different world.
You and me both. No,
they talk about things in high school they did, and it's up on social media. It's like we didn't even really. The internet wasn't really mainstream use.
I don't know how you made it.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad we did, because there's cell phones everywhere picking up things.
Yeah.
So I saw yesterday you went to Lynn Family Stadium. beautiful stadium. Was it yesterday or this weekend?
No, I was out at the Jim Patterson Stadium this weekend for the
Okay.
Cards game Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
But I do try to go to Lynn Family Stadium.
I was thinking you went there for the Pride event they had.
I was not there this
Okay.
weekend. I've certainly been there a lot. This was a crazy weekend, so I was trying to juggle a million different conflicting
I don't know how you keep up. I get invited to a lot of stuff, and unfortunately, I can't be everything. But I can't imagine how many events you get invited to every weekend for one.
Quite a few, but it's an honor. I mean, it's part of the job. I think it's very important to advance our agenda and at the same time be out there to get to know people. I mean,
Right.
the job of mayor, really, you have to be responsive to what the city is thinking, looking for. You need to understand the impact of your decisions, or as you're making decisions, to truly talk to people without filters. And so that's what I try to do when I go to places, even if it's fun events. You get to meet people. And so being in every part of the city is incredibly important. It's why I've spent so much time in South and Southwest Louisville. This was not a part of the city that I spent a lot of time in growing up. I was more familiar with other parts of the city. So I think it's important for me over the past 2.5 years as mayor to spend that extra time out here to truly get to know people, to understand the issues. And so understand why Jefferson Memorial Forest is so important, which I'm its biggest supporter right now, and we're going to totally transform that, or investing in Tom Wallace Recreational Area, or Riverview Park, or Farnsley Mormon. The list goes on and on when it comes to parks. You can't just sit behind a desk and do that. You've got to be able to experience it. You need to have walked the trails of Jefferson Memorial Forest. You need to be able to have gone into the Ohio River, or actually I got out of the Ohio River in a kayak at Riverview Park. But, you need to be able to experience these things and talk to people who use it.
So how did that come about? All of a sudden I'm hearing parks, and I think it's a wonderful thing. Has it been on the radar for a while because I think the state gave the Memorial Forest $5 million or something, but it's a beautiful park. I was talking to Dan Syme Jr. and Councilwoman Bass the other day, and we was like, could this turn into like a Gatlinburg feel where you could put some cabins and stuff in there and hiking trails?
Absolutely. So right now we are starting the master planning process for Jefferson Memorial Forest. And my view is that, first of all, think of the gem that we have. We have the largest municipally owned urban forest in the entire country.
And I didn't know that until about a month ago.
Most cities don't have any forest, much less 7,000 acres.
They'll carve out a park in the middle of the city and call it their forest.
Exactly. So it is a unique opportunity. And right now it's got trails, but that's about it. No infrastructure. We need more infrastructure for camping, for glamping, so people can stay overnight. Yeah. We need great ropes courses. We need lots of things to do. And what's going to then happen is, whether it's the Fairdale neighborhood or whether it's here on Dixie Highway to the west, hotels, restaurants, everything that South and Southwest Louisville is looking for when it comes to retail and hospitality, that will speed up the development of those type of outlets, because people are going to be coming here for the experience in Jefferson Memorial Forest. They do it all over the country in other great outdoor spaces. People are looking for experiences, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we can give people a great experience close to an urban area, and so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to be asking for some big dollars in Frankfurt during the General Assembly session next year, and I'm really excited about the future.
It's such a gem, and I've noticed out here in the South End, further that way, closer to the forest, there's more and more things going up. I know Matt Dodd's putting a new McDonald's down there, and you see more and more things heading that way. I guess maybe in preparation for what might come, because it connects.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
it connects.
Well, I haven't seen the new Tom Wallace recreational area right there. It is beautiful. We've got great new natural playground there. The lake is great. Great for fishing, great for hiking. Rachel and I were out there a few weeks ago taking a hike. Really a beautiful place.
Yeah, well, we thank you for paying attention. And you seem like, I see people give you crap, and they give it to me, but anytime you're doing good and people see you doing good, they want to criticize. But if they don't see you get criticized anyway. So you might as well do the good thing,
I think part of this job is being criticized. I can't. That's why I don't read the comments on social media.
You cannot read the comments.
Somebody said
to people is
I had to teach him that.
Yeah, somebody said post and go. So I've had to get in that habit of just kind of not paying attention to what people say.
That's the best thing.
Another big thing we saw coming this way is, are we going to be the next film studio of the country?
I certainly hope so.
It's a beautiful place y'all remodeling.
Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. So I don't know about you, Mike, but I grew up loving professional wrestling. And on Tuesday nights...
Well, we're going to talk about that too, yeah.
Okay, so on Tuesday nights, my dad used to take me to Louisville Gardens.
Yeah.
And it was a great part of my childhood. And to see now it's been vacant and dead for decades. And now to have the opportunity to keep the Louisville Gardens historically alive, but with a new life, and to be a world-class production, studios. I'm really excited about that. We have one, if not the best, one of the best incentives to film TV shows and movies in Kentucky. 30 to 35% is basically a refund for eligible and approved projects. So we're starting to have those films that are movies that are being made here. Actually, a few are right now as we talk.
What's a good
up
one?
in New York at Tribeca Film Festival.
Oh, yeah.
There was one I just saw, Queen of the Ring. It's a wrestling movie.
I've seen people film things up in the western part of the state, so it's going to be really cool to be up here. Yeah.
State. And now in Louisville, if we have the production facilities here, it's not just going to be these one-off film productions, but it's going to be a year-round new industry that we're creating with people, that when you shoot a movie or a TV series, there's so many different things involved. Carpenters, film people, engineers, sound. It's like doing this podcast times 100 of what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are good paying jobs. So I'm really excited to do some of that right in downtown Louisville.
Where's Louisville Gardens at?
Right downtown.
Okay.
She didn't grow up in the wrestling
No,
days like we did.
I have no idea where that's at.
She's like, Louisville Gardens, what is that? Back
Saw
in the
some
day.
great concerts there too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm just excited that they're finally doing something with that building because it's going to be a phenomenal asset to the city. Was something like that with drawing in more outside attention to the city? I know some state representatives told me that they were really trying hard to reduce some income tax. So with the forest coming in, with more tourism, with potential movies, do you see some sort of maybe tax relief for people in the city? Or
Well, right now at the state level, there's sort of a formula in place that as the revenues go up,
they kind of start
the
adjusting.
Income tax automatically goes down.
Okay.
So I believe it's statewide we're down to 3 or 3.5% already, and there are mechanisms in place for that to continue to decrease. And so that will continue to happen.
Yeah. You mentioned wrestling, and we grew up in the Jerry Lawler days and stuff like that. That was some of the best times. Because those guys had such a good time with it. And right before you ran for mayor, somebody had said something about a special on Netflix, and I started watching it, and there you were. And I'm sitting, this guy's running for mayor, and are you part owner of the OVW? Is that what it is?
I am. Well, actually,
did you know it started right down here?
I know. And going back to your very first question, how about me as a U of L fan? My business partner is Matt Jones.
Oh, you okay? Big
Mr.
UK?
UK in Kentucky.
How does that go? Do y'all
we're good friends.
have fights on the side?
No, not at all. I did, let's see, before the NCAA tournament this year, though, I did call into his show. And U of L was playing in Rupp Arena. And so I got on his show and I was trying to convince his listeners, his UK fan listeners, to come cheer for U of L so that hopefully my argument was then at least U of L could make it and UK could be the one to beat U of L. They didn't go for it.
Yeah.
They went to U of L. But it was fun. So anyway, back to OVW. It was right when COVID hit. I had just left my job at 21C Museum Hotels, where I helped build that company from scratch. And we had sold the company. I'd been with it for a couple years after the sale and knew I was looking to do something different. It was before I started to run for mayor. We were in the middle of COVID quarantine. I used to be a huge professional wrestling fan. And I was just watching stuff on TV, random stuff. I guess I was done with Netflix or something.
Yeah.
And came across OVW, which I had heard about but hadn't seen in decades. And I just had this idea that it was great wrestling. It's a great local institution. It'd be really fun to bring it into the 21st century. So I called my friend Matt Jones, who I knew was a professional wrestling fan also, who I think is one of the best marketing brains of anyone I've ever met, and said, hey, do you want to try to buy this company and do something with it? And we didn't even know who owned the company, if it was for sale or anything, but to make a long story short, it all worked out. And our idea was that one way to help really elevate the business was to get a show focused on it, a streaming show. And it was sort of our idea at the time was Last Chance U or Cheer, get a show like that about professional wrestling. And to make a long story short, thanks to a woman who I went to grade school with here in Louisville, who's now in Hollywood, we ended up with the person who did Last Chance U and Cheer, who filmed wrestlers. And it was a great program. It's been great for the wrestlers themselves more than anything. Guys, like Cash Flow is now in a starring role in Tulsa King, which is the Sylvester Stallone Taylor Sheridan show. Haley J her career has taken off as a result of that. So I'm really happy for them.
I enjoyed the show. I actually watched it 1.5 times. I haven't made it through the second time. Or is there going to be a second season? Or
There's not a second season yet, but stay tuned. We actually are in the process of selling most of the company. Matt's got his full-time job at KSR. I'm a little busy with this job that I have.
Just a little bit.
And so
I don't know how you have time.
Someone is coming will own a majority interest. We'll have a small interest still, but someone else is
we had a meeting downtown a few weeks ago, and I guess WWE was at the Yum Center.
They were.
Had no idea. And it was packed. I can't believe how many people still follow wrestling.
WWE's crushing it right
now.
now.
Yeah, I took when my son was younger. We don't go as much. He's heavily into music now, but he and I would go to those. We go to the motocross stuff at the Freedom Hall, and it was a blast. But WWE was always so much fun.
It is.
It's theatrics, but there's still reality to it. I don't care how hard you think it's fake, man. It hitting that mat and the way they go at it sometimes. It's
I don't think
fun.
you would land very easy jumping from the top rope.
There's definite athleticism involved in it.
But to have a 300-pound man built like a brick wall jump off the sixth rope or whatever he does and land, it's got to hurt. I don't care.
No. I've talked to them right after their matches. I mean, while the end might be a little scripted, there is a lot of athleticism. There's definitely risk in there, and so I'm a great admirer of them.
Yeah.
They're great entertainers.
I would always wanted to meet what's the guy that used to run around the ring at Louisville Gardens and stir up the trouble? Jimmy?
Jimmy Hart.
Yeah, did you ever meet that guy?
South.
Yeah, did you ever meet that guy?
I never met Jimmy Hart. No.
I always wanted to meet him. He was the guy that would always get if you want to get some attention, do something and stir people up, and he would always get people talking about stuff. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be. Did y'all just call Netflix one day? Do they have like a list of shows that you got to pitch and then they decide? Or
it really was one of these small Louisville connection things. I didn't know anyone in Hollywood. I knew one person who worked in the entertainment industry who I'd gone to high school and middle school with, and she was an executive at a studio. So I called her up and I said, hey, we've got this idea for what we're trying to do. And she said, well, let me get some of my team together and give you some advice. So Matt and I got on a Zoom call with her team. Her team liked it so much, they ended up putting together what's called a sizzle reel to show the idea of what this show could be. And they then went to Netflix, they went to the producer, and they put it all together.
No, it's a genius idea. I just didn't know how. You made it sound very easy. But
now you have his wheels turning. He wants to have a Netflix
I thought about it. We could tell a lot of stories. We had one of the it was tied to Kentucky Farm Bureau. They were following a couple of the patients around that we were helping to kind of tell their stories. But it's very depressing. I mean, it's tough to watch.
Yeah,
but this was entertaining.
It was entertaining. There was definitely some highs and lows in the show for sure. It's real life, just like for all of us, there are highs and lows. But getting the show on a service like Netflix is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
We think there's so much content, and there is, but they're pretty particular, and it took a long time to make that happen.
Of all the things in the show, I absolutely loved it. But the one thing, and I love it, and I don't want to say exposing, what do you say? Matt brought real life to his seizures that he was having, where people finally said, holy crap, he's doing that, and I am too. I need to get some help. It's weird how something like that happens.
See also in there, my brother-in-law has been a partner of ours in there as well. He's a GI doctor here in town, so he was there that night. I wasn't there when that scene was being filmed. My brother-in-law was there, though, so I mean, he
scary.
Jumped into action with his medical training as well. That was very scary, but I think Matt knew that's what he was signing up for, and I think that definitely shined a light.
But it exposed that as popular as he is, and I'm not, but everybody has something that they have to deal with in life, and it was crazy. I thought
normal people that have curveballs thrown our way.
It almost seemed like live TV. I was like, are they really showing this? Is this happening to him? And it was real.
Yeah, it was very real.
Yeah, he was having bad seizures in the middle of the conversation. It was really good. So 21C, last question. How did you get – so you were a developer before you –
So I was an attorney.
Oh, okay.
Shortly after I graduated from law school, a common friend of mine and Steve Wilson and Laura Lee Brown introduced us. It was really a professional blind date. They were looking for a new lawyer to help with some things. And my friend Jim said, hey, you guys should hire this guy, Craig. He's just out of law school. And so I was at a law firm at the time. And in one of the very first conversations I had with them, they told me their vision for 21C Museum Hotels. I'd never done anything in the real estate world. I'd never done anything in the hotel world. We burned the midnight hour. We made a lot of mistakes. We learned a lot. And I'm really proud. We built what ultimately was named the #1 hotel in the United States. We revived and restored historically 9 properties around the country. So it was a wonderful adventure for my family and me.
Was that the first one that they did?
Louisville was the first one.
Okay.
It opened up in 2006. I can't believe it's almost 20 years ago. Man,
yeah, I know. Well, I remember I used to work downtown in the building across the street from it.
Oh, okay.
So we would always watch people in the men's bath. I think it's the men's bathroom.
Sure, yeah, of course.
Everybody has to go in the men's bathroom because you're standing at the urinal and you can see outside. So everybody's walking down the hallway. You think they can see you. It's kind of funny. Yeah, genius. It gets people in there.
I give credit to Steve Wilson for that one.
Yeah. And then the statue. And then at one time there was a speaker there. People would walk down the street and you could hear
Darth Vader.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it wasn't Darth Vader, but it was like that. It was a breathing statue.
Yeah.
Right.
You would walk down the street and you'd hear something. You'd stand. We would watch people all the time, and you would see them kind of turn around like, who is that? Somebody talking to me out here? It was kind of strange.
I've actually never been in that hotel.
It's cool. Check it out.
Yeah.
We, my daughter graduated this year, and they went down and took all their prom pictures down there. They called ahead.
Okay,
They said, sure, they've got a huge art gallery there. It's beautiful how they got it set up.
Yeah, it's a neat place.
But the statue there is really cool. That gets people's attention as well, as it's a block away from the back.
That's a gilded statue of David, twice the size of the real life.
Do they put that on all the other properties?
No, it's just here.
Are all the other ones designed that way, or do they all have a unique?
They all have some outdoor art, but none. It's all different.
Okay, but the inside is basically the same concept. They do a lot of the stuff.
They all look differently.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. I know y'all didn't have a whole lot of time. I did hear that you've been talking about how crime's going down. You want to talk a little bit about that? It seems like it's going down. I'll be honest. I'm so happy to see, and I met your staff here. I love LMPD, and it feels so good to see them out on the streets trying to stop some of the things that's going on. So
I'm incredibly proud of the progress that we're making. We're down about 30% in shootings and actually over 30% in homicides year to date this year compared to last year. So that's great progress. Now, we're not celebrating because there's a lot more work we have to do. But between Chief Humphrey and what LMPD is doing, between some of our other violence prevention initiatives, and really we started the conversation talking about some parks, things like opening a new pool at Algonquin Park, like opening new libraries, including the one we're building in Fern Creek or the one that just reopened in the Parkland neighborhood. All of that is part of our violence prevention efforts to get most of the violence they're kids, they're teens, they're young adults.
Yeah. We
need to give them more pathways to learn, to find things that they're interested in that don't involve a gun. And so that's what we're working to do. It's working. We got to keep doubling down and keep doing more of it.
We'll get with you and Nicole on the side, but one thing Shirley's Way really does is we firmly believe if a kid does not get out of their zip code, they only know what's in that zip code.
Right.
There's kids that have never been to a play before, to a movie, they've never been to Kentucky Kingdom. They've never been in it. And until they can see that there's other opportunities that could really change their life, you're right. I mean, they're just going to keep following the drug dealers or the gang dealers and stuff like that.
My wife, Rachel, who I know you know, she started her career as an English as a second language teacher in Jefferson County Public Schools. And we saw that firsthand. She was dealing with a lot of kids that were new to our country and trying to help them get out from just their small world that they were living in here and help them see the world. And that's for any kid. The more you can expose them to, the more likely they're going to live a safe life, a healthy life, a prosperous life.
Yeah.
And, stay.
But the trauma of these kids, even the ones that are from here, a friend of mine's a teacher, and she said the same exact thing. She had a child come in and was very traumatized, and they couldn't figure out why, but they came from Africa. They finally got out of her that they yanked her mom and dad off a truck and executed them on the side of the road, and she saw it. She witnessed that.
Yeah, the impact of gun violence in our city cannot be overlooked. If you know someone who's been a victim, if you've been close to an act of gun violence, it's traumatizing. I know from firsthand.
Well, I was going to say, I wasn't going to ask, but you posted it's kind of the anniversary or something. So did that change you?
Was last weekend, actually this weekend, 2 days ago, was Gun Violence Awareness Day weekend. And there's a whole national movement where folks are wearing orange to raise awareness about reducing gun violence. And it was all started by parents of kids that were killed by gun violence. But that act changed me forever. I mean, I'm a fortunate survivor.
Yeah.
Most people aren't as fortunate as I was, but it definitely impacted me. It impacted my entire family, and I'm very fortunate.
Well, I guess in the role you're in, you just have to kind of say, all right, I'm either getting back on the horse and riding forward.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to be hard to get back in the public wondering. You got some great people around. I wouldn't want to arm wrestle that guy standing there. But, I mean, you got some great people around you. It's just I don't know. How do you get up the next day?
Male and female LMPD push-up champions.
Yeah, she came in a Jenna, and I thought she said Jedi. I said Jedi. That's a great name.
That's awesome.
I try to keep up with them. They give me. Yeah. I try to stay in shape. No, actually, it definitely impacted me a lot. You do have to just get out there, and I knew I couldn't do this job. I had a choice to make. I could either quit as a result of the assassination attempt, or I had to go back out there because you can't do this job living in fear of living or staying inside all the time.
Yeah.
As we talked about, you have to be out there with people. And so fortunately, with the support of Rachel and my two sons, we got back out there. And
she didn't look at you and say, hey, you've lost your mind.
No, it was actually great. It was 2 nights after the shooting where, the whole first couple of days were a blur. You've got so much adrenaline. My ears were ringing as a result of, just being so close to those gunshots in the room that we were in my office. It was 2 nights later, the second night of going to sleep, where I said to Rachel, and I said, I realized I haven't even said this yet, but I don't have to do this. And if you and the kids don't support it, I'm out. Yeah. You guys are far more important to me than any job I will ever have. And she's the one who said, no, we got to keep doing this. You can't let them win. You can't let this define you. You've got to keep moving forward. And so it fuels me every day.
She's strong.
Incredibly strong. I'm so incredibly fortunate that she is so supportive and wonderful and a great partner. But, I run a lot, and I try to run most mornings. That I find to be not just helpful for my physical health, but my mental health.
Do they have to run with you?
No. And then also...
did you realize you had to sign up for that when you took the job?
Also one other thing that I discovered, I went to see a therapist for the first time in my life after that for a couple of months. And one thing that they advised me to do was to start meditating. And so literally almost every night for the past 2.5 years since that happened, I've been meditating, and I find it to just be great for mental health. I strongly encourage people. I thought it was this crazy new age stuff, but I've got this app called Headspace. Every night I turn it on for 10 minutes, and just as crazy as a day as you've had, you have to teach yourself how to do it well, but it really helps bring peace to yourself, and it helps me sleep incredibly well. And I credit that to my strong physical and mental health as well. So for anyone struggling with something, I'd strongly recommend. There are lots of apps that can help you through.
I'm going to look that up.
Take notes there.
Yeah, my winding down. I get home at night, and I like old TV shows. So The Love Boat, MASH. I love Sanford and Son. He cracks me up.
Rachel and I are watching one not quite that old right now, but have you ever seen The Wire?
No, I haven't. I'll have to look it up.
The Wire, I think it's on HBO Max is what we're watching it on, but it's from the early 2000s, and the police I've talked to say it's the most realistic police show ever. There are 5 seasons. It's great.
And that's on HBO?
On HBO, it's about
look it up.
Early 2000s Baltimore. A little bit of crime, a little bit of everything.
I did start watching Grey's Anatomy again. Remember that show?
Yeah,
I think everybody in the country was all over. But my middle daughter, we named her Addison for Addison Gray off of Grey's Anatomy. It's funny. So, well, sir, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I'll be honest. I've heard nothing but good about you all. I've heard Chief Humphrey is amazing. I'm hoping he can come in one day. Absolutely. He's already agreed to it. But I've even heard people on the other side saying, hey, look, he's a great guy. He's honest. He really wants to make things good for Louisville, and I just can't thank you enough.
True. I'm fortunate to have a wonderful team, including Chief Humphrey, Deputy Mayor George, and so many others that help every day. And I'm sure Chief Humphrey will want to come chat with you guys. I know Rachel wants to come talk to you guys.
Yeah, we'll have to get her in here with you. We'll get all the deep secrets. There you go. Well, thank you. You going to the PRP game? Trinity game? Which one?
Well, I'm going to neither. I'm going to try to make it to Omaha. We'll see if I can make it.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's this weekend, right?
I know PRP plays so that's Friday,
right now.
Yeah.
I'm actually going back to the office to work on my schedule for the rest of the
maybe we'll get lucky, PRP and Trinity to be in the final, and we'll have everybody pack the place.
That'd be wonderful.
Mayor, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you all so much. And thanks for having me.
Yep. See ya.